Donald Trump's cabinet and group of advisors is well on its way to being the most deplorable, ridiculous, vile, depraved, and laughable of the last 100+ years. We've got four billionaires. Four. There are 540 billionaires in the United States. 540. That's it. Just 540 in a country of 350 million people. Four of them, nearly 1% of them, are going to be in Donald Trump's cabinet. We have three generals who are going to be in Donald Trump's cabinet. Of course, under 1% of the American population serving in the military. We are going to have three individuals from the military in Donald Trump's cabinet. The Secretary of State is going to be Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson, a guy who has fundamentally destroyed our planet by drilling for oil with decades-long connections to Russia. Donald Trump ran against Hillary Clinton because she was the bad Wall Street schmoozer who won't tell us about her Wall Street speeches. And it turns out that former Goldman Sachs partner Steve Mnuchin is going to be the Treasury Secretary. Talk about bamboozling your own voters. And then, of course, you've got Wilbur Ross, a private equity financier who made a fortune buying bankrupt companies and flipping them for profits, for Secretary of Commerce. And then one of the women in Trump's cabinet, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, she's going to be running education, Pat. She's against funding public schools in principle.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one unqualified, deeply conflicted pick after another. And when you look at the blue-collar white workers that really pushed Donald Trump over the edge, how are they going to be happy with any of these picks?
Well, they'll be happy because they'll think that Trump has their best interests in mind. They just won't benefit from it in any way. You can add to the list billionaire Chicago Cubs co-owner Todd Ricketts, Deputy Secretary of Commerce, another billionaire. And then you've got Trump's national security advisor, retired General Michael Flynn, former military intelligence chief who sees no difference between radical Islam and most Muslims, has parroted outrageous internet conspiracy theories. And then don't forget, waiting in the wings there is Attorney General Jeff Sessions, soon to be Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who liked the Ku Klux Klan until he found out that they smoked weed sometimes, and thinks that you fundamentally cannot be a good person if you smoke weed. He wants to scale up the embarrassingly failed war on drugs. And then we get to Congressman and former orthopedic surgeon Tom Price, who wants to get rid of Obamacare, is anti-choice in a world where we have the highest support for legal abortion in the history of the United States, is anti-gay marriage when we should be considering that a completely settled issue, a total 1950s retrograde lunatic. And then closing it out, Scott Pruitt will be leading the EPA, not a cabinet position, but typically considered an equivalent rank to cabinet level positions. Longtime pro-fossil fuel dude who denies humans have any impact on climate change. In other words, a non-science buffoon. And then the cherry on top, as I like to call it, Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon who actually said, I'm not qualified enough to be involved in Trump's cabinet, will be Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, topping off. I mean, if you talk about a deplorable cake of unqualified buffoons, Ben Carson really is the cherry on top, isn't he?
That is the cherry, yeah. I mean, it's a full, diverse range of people, though. You have Goldman Sachs financiers, you have climate change deniers, heads of oil companies. Yeah. It's the full range.
Oil billionaires and private equity billionaires. None of these people are going to do anything to help middle America. Now, if they do something to help themselves, which by coincidence actually has the side effect of helping middle America, then they'll allow it. But that's as far as you're going to get in terms of them doing anything that is going to help the average person. Who will really benefit from one of Donald Trump's estate tax proposals? People on his cabinet and his advisors. Trump has the idea of repealing the estate tax, and that is something that would be really, really good financially to the people that Donald Trump is picking to represent him around the world and in different departments of government. This cabinet really makes the George W. Bush cabinet seem like a pretty well-qualified and well-reasoned group of people, which is insane, Pat. But I actually think back to the Bush cabinet, and I think, you know, it really wasn't bad compared to this clown car that Donald Trump is putting together.
Unfortunately, there is some crossover there, though, because John Bolton's going to be the Deputy Secretary of State.
Yep. John Bolton, of course, the guy who was ambassador to the UN, yet didn't really think that we should have a United Nations. And was he involved? I know Michael Chertoff was involved financially with the porno scanner airport machines, but I don't remember if John Bolton was also involved with that. Anyway, do you remember offhand?
We're going to have to look into that one.
Yeah, I don't remember. Michael Chertoff certainly, and I guess Michael Chertoff won't be part of the Trump administration, but maybe he will, never too far behind. A lot of discussion about these selections and others happening on our Reddit discussion forum, which you can check out at davidpakman.com/Reddit. That's REDDIT. Over 2,100 of our viewers and listeners regularly participating in discussion there. Please subscribe there and participate. A lot of good stuff going on, and I'm on there daily. You also check that out. I know sometimes
sure do, yes.
You comment on there. Are you TDPS Pat on Reddit?
Yes, people go crazy whenever I post something. They're like, Pat right? is among us.
Yeah, well, I could see that. TDPS Pat is on there. I believe my username is David Pakman on Reddit. It's all happening at davidpakman.com/Reddit. Warby Parker is offering a free 5-day home try-on to give you the opportunity to check out their glasses. I personally wear Warby Parker glasses when I'm not wearing my contact lenses, and I also started with one of these free at-home try-ons of 5 pairs of glasses. You can get your free home try-on and support the David Pakman Show at warbyparkertrial.com/TDPS. I don't really like going into glasses stores and trying on glasses while the salesperson sort of hovers over me, and I like more than 30 seconds to actually figure out whether I like the glasses. So with the Warby Parker home try-on, I was able to pick 5 pairs that I liked, put them on in the comfort of my own home, pick the one I like the most, and then Warby Parker put my prescription lenses in there for me. A lot of people don't know that the eyeglass industry is controlled by just a few big corporations that keep prices very high, like $300 for prescription glasses high, which is just insane. Warby Parker glasses start at $95. That's what mine cost. And for every pair of glasses sold, Warby Parker distributes a pair of glasses to someone in need. You can try 5 pairs and see what you like. Check out the at-home trial and support our show by going to warbyparker.com/TDPS. It costs nothing.